advocacy on behalf of your clients must continue, and it must continue to extend beyond the courtroom. And your efforts to provide a trauma-informed and holistic approach to the extra-legal concerns of those you represent is a model for public defenders, as we've heard today, across the country, across our state. I'm extremely grateful for the many community and organizational partnerships that the PD's office had. We've heard from a number of those organizations here today. On Tuesday, we met with the leadership of the Montgomery County NAACPs. You heard Mr. Milligan representing them today. Also on the phone with us during that meeting was the new state president, Mr. Ken Hudson. I'm grateful for the considerable amount of time they spent with us. I want to publicly thank them for that. We had a frank and honest and constructive conversation. We pledge to continue to meet regularly and work together to address specific concerns. I want to be 100% clear and publicly state my unqualified support for ending the pretrial detention of people solely for economic reasons. This is a system that disproportionately impacts communities of color as well as the economically disadvantaged. We have identified that on any given day, 200 or more individuals are in our correctional facility here in the county, not because they've been convicted of a crime, but because they're awaiting trial and cannot come up with the funds to make bail. Pretrial detention not only negatively impacts the individual, if this person is the breadwinner in the family, or a parent, or caregiver of an elderly or ill family member, the fallout from one arrest can be catastrophic for the entire family, the neighborhood, and the community. In early 2019, the county and the courts, about a year and a half ago, began a collaborative effort across county departments to develop an alternative to cash bail. No one department can do this by themselves. This team included representation from the Public Defender's Office, the District Attorney's Office, courts, the prison, the Commissioner's Office, and adult probation. This group has been working together, reviewing various program models across the state and the country. Representatives from these offices traveled to Pittsburgh to view Allegheny County's model pretrial services program and researched others around the country for best practices to inform our own program here in Montgomery County. Based upon this work, the team presented a plan to the county commissioners to fund a comprehensive pretrial services unit in the 2020 budget. A new position was included in the 2020 budget to launch this initiative. This position was advertised in January of 2020. I think interviews have just concluded, and that role will be filled shortly. I'm pleased to say we had over 100 people apply for that position. Bail reform is one piece of a holistic approach to criminal justice reform in our county. Our jails have become the default housing for individuals with mental illness. I know a lot of you in this room don't know me, but I'm a physician. I took care of patients for over 20 years before I stepped into public service. And part of why I did that was because I saw injustice rain down on my patients, who were mostly women and mostly women of color, every single day. And I knew that it didn't matter what kind of a job I did in the moment that they were in the hospital. As soon as they walked out the door, they were back in that environment to which they had very little voice. So I'm very familiar with some of the challenges, in particular in the mental health population. And the National Stepping Up Initiative is an effort to reduce the number of individuals in prison with serious mental illness. Our county joined the program in 2017. Since then, we have reduced the number of individuals admitted to the correctional facility by 27% that have serious mental illness. In 2019, this county was the 16th county in the United States to be recognized as a Stepping Up Innovator County for the progress that we have made. Having a government ID is critical to obtaining employment, housing, and other services, but many incarcerated people have lost their ID or had it stolen. Through a partnership with PennDOT, that's our Department of Transportation for our state, many individuals are now able to leave our correctional facility with a replacement ID or driver's license or a camera card, ready to get a new ID. In 2017, Montgomery County Correctional Facility utilized a grant to implement a new program to increase reentry coordination and counseling. This program served over 365 people in our correctional facility, providing job training, resume development, and education. Participants in this program had an exceptionally low recidivism rate of 5%. This grant-funded program was so successful that the county continued the program with county funds. And in 2019, the recidivism rate of the individuals who participated in that program is now 2%. Collectively, these programs and others have reduced the Montgomery County Correctional Facility population from approximately 2,000 individuals on any given day in 2015 to approximately 1,475 individuals this past January. About a 550-person decrease of people in our jails. But we use data and we look at the facts, and we know that there's still much more work to do. Individuals with an opioid use disorder have a high rate of overdose when reentering the community after incarceration. In January, the correctional facility began a medication-assisted treatment program to continue the treatment of individuals who were on MAT in the community and to start treatment for those who are committed to recovery. Although it is too soon for us to have results, similar programs have a successful track record in reducing overdose deaths and recidivism, and we hope that we will see the same thing here. Cash bail continues to be the thing that keeps me up at night, and the fact that we have on average 200 people that are in our facility because of that inability to come up with funds to pay that bail is something that I will not rest until that is undone. So while we've made a lot of progress, we have a lot more work to do. I am committed to continuing to learn about how we can work together to make the criminal justice system in Montgomery County more just and more equitable. I hope that everyone in this county, I hope that everyone who came today stays engaged and contributes good ideas to further this work and holds us accountable for the commitments that we make. I believe this work is only successful if we work together in our neighborhoods, in our communities, and across our county to implement the changes that we want to see.
Commissioner, what about Dean
I hope
Keisha?
that more than my words, my actions will
sir.
eventually lead to reconciliation and restoration of the public's trust in my commitment to meaningful justice reform measures. I am going to ask that we take a brief recess before we have salary board, and with that, I'll turn over to Commissioner Lawrence.
Good. Right. Elephant in the room, ignoring.
I'm going off script.
Thank
Please.
you.
I want to thank everyone who came here today. I especially want to thank the members of our Public Defender's Office. Sorry I haven't been there. I'll come this afternoon or tomorrow or whenever you want. I was dreading today, but I actually feel pretty good now. Because I know that I didn't ask enough questions. I know that I didn't demand better answers. And I know that I didn't educate myself as I should have when this decision was made.
Thank you.
And as a former solicitor once told me, as an individual commissioner, you have no power. We're as individuals, but I believe that there needs to be mediation, and I believe that there needs to be reconciliation, and that includes Dean and Keisha. I don't know what that means. I'm not a lawyer. You know, I've been called a politician a lot this week. I've always called myself a public servant. And who do I want to serve? And we had a lot of lawyers here today, and we had folks who could travel, but you could afford to travel. You could get the flight. But someone in this room talked to me this week about the voiceless and the ones who were never at the table. So there were people who couldn't be here today because they couldn't take off work. Or there was someone who couldn't be here today because they're locked up.
Right.
And people have talked about running or my election, I don't care.
Get a picture of his face, 'cause he-
I don't want to serve. I don't want to serve if this is what serving means, and an action that I fully supported is viewed as hurting the weakest and most oppressed in our community. So I'm not going to make a motion, but I believe that there needs to be mediation, and I believe that there needs to be reconciliation. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Shame.
All right, with that, I am going to announce that our next meeting is March 19th, 2020. And I am going to call for an adjournment to the March 5th, 2020 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. I will move to adjourn. Second by Commissioner Gale. Any more comment or public comment? All right. And then I'm going to move to take a brief recess before salary board. Do we have to close on that time? Or we can just call for recess? Okay, so we're going to take a brief recess before salary board. Thank you.